여기는 펜실베이니아 주립대학교. 교단에서 강의를 하고 계신 분은 샘리처드 교수님입니다.
And I want to assess my level of freedom. The one thing that I'm going to be thinking about are how many things, what is out there
잠시 고민하더니 이렇게 이어 말합니다.
forcing me to do things that I may or may not choose to do. It's not about governments. It's not about I live in a democracy, so therefore. It's about every single day when I wake up, every minute of the day, what am I choosing to do? What do I want to do? And am I able to do what I want to do? And how many rules are there? They're forcing me to do things, in particular that I don't want to do. How different would I be if I were living in North Korea? Or if I were living in some other society like Iran? If I were living in Iran, how different would my life be? And I'm not talking about, well, so therefore I have more economic opportunities and blah, 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 and all of that, right? No, that's fine. But how different would my life be?
샘리처드 교수님의 이번 수업은 민주주의 국가에서 살고 있는 우리가 공산국가에 살고 있었다면 얼마나 많은 것들이 지금과는 달라졌을지, 또 현재 우리는 얼마나 많은 것들을 누리고 있는지에 대해 스스로 생각해보고 깨닫는 것이 이번 강의 주제입니다.
The other question is, how many things do I have to do that I really don't want to do? Of all those things, okay? How will my life be different? How would my life be if I can't do the things I want to do? What's going to happen to me if I do things that I want to do, but I'm told I'm not allowed to, so I'm going to get in trouble somehow? We have 3 volunteers today. We have someone from Saudi Arabia, we have someone from China, and we have someone from the United States. And we're going to compare the lives of these 3 people to say, like, hey, what is this like?
전제 군주제 국가인 사우디아라비아 학생과 공산 국가인 중국인 학생, 민주주의 국가에서 사는 미국인 학생 3명을 교단으로 부릅니다.
Okay, so we're starting with Saudis. So why don't you introduce yourself?
So hello, my name is Kauthar Mahdi and I'm from Saudi Arabia and I'm currently a sophomore.
Hello everyone, I'm Zhiqian Luo, can call me Warson, it's easier, and I'm from Guangzhou, China.
Hello everyone, I'm Joe Kowalik. I am a senior in mechanical engineering. I'm from about 25 miles outside of Philadelphia.
학생들의 소개가 끝나고 먼저 사우디아라비아의 상황을 이야기합니다.
In her country is the king. It's a monarchy, okay? The king and the people around the king are deciding on the rules. So there's no elections. So this is accurate, right? You don't vote.
No.
Do you have a say in how much say do you have in the government and what goes on in the government, the rules? Hold the mic really close.
I don't think like us as citizens like of Saudi Arabia, like we don't have like opportunity to vote. I don't think like that's a problem. Like that's like how it's been since forever.
Yep.
And like we're used to it, but like once I got to the US, like I noticed, oh, like there's something such as voting. They're like, oh, do you wanna vote? I'm like, no, I'm not a citizen of the United States, so I don't know. They're like, oh, okay. Like I'm just there to like get the free food that they have to like vote.
미국에 온 뒤 투표에 대해 생각해보게 된 사우디 학생. 하지만 이어진 질문에 놀라운 대답을 하는데요.
So you have this king, the monarch, and this group of advisors, which is, fairly significant, and they make these rules.
Yeah, and I think like most of us, like as Saudi citizens, are like satisfied with the rules. Like I don't see anyone like talking like negatively about them. At least like from my opinion and like the people around me.
Okay, so it's like no people aren't talking about. So this is King Salman on the right, who's going to be stepping down soon. Am I right?
I don't know, maybe.
And then they decided succession, like the power after him, would just be by firstborn son, unless the firstborn son was a complete knucklehead, and then it would be maybe the secondborn son. Right? Okay, that's how it works. Like, okay, we don't do that here. Like, it's a little bit different, but that's how it's done there.
사우디아라비아와 미국이 다르다는 걸 말씀하신 교수님은 이번엔 중국 학생에게 질문합니다.
All right, here we go. Let's go to China. Bro, Orson, China.
Yeah.
So you all have a president, and the president has a network of people around him who is making the rules.
Yes.
And the rules are implemented by a vast bureaucracy, which in your country you call the Chinese Communist Party, CCP. Okay, here we don't call it that. There they call it the CCP, okay? But it's the vast bureaucracy. It's just you're connected to the CCP. And people in the CCP are appointed, they're hired, and they're sometimes elected.
Yeah, sometimes, yes.
Sometimes elected. Okay, so tell me, how's it work there? Like you...
So, like,
신중하게 말을 고르는 중국 학생.
before, like how much we think we have influence on like some of the decisions on maybe like some laws or elections or whatever happening in the government. Like my personal experiences are like there's not much that we can influence on. Maybe a law can be passed or a certain individual is going to be in what position. And like so what I'm being like what my experience is that people in the government get to a certain position because of them knowing a lot of people that will support them in the government or have a lot of money that can and could do that. Yeah.
Which is similar to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Which is similar to the US, by the way. But
yeah, like there's so much that I can say before I like make some of the people mad. So
no, here,
yeah.
But hang on. You don't hang on though. So listen, what's really interesting.
중국 학생이 중국에 대해 말하자 앉아있던 다른 중국 학생의 표정이 심상치 않습니다.
So these two people, they're watching carefully what they say. Okay? This is out on YouTube. They could say the wrong thing, and someone's going to be contacting them saying like, hey, why did you say this, or why did you say that? That's just the nature of being part of their society. Okay? So now the question becomes, that I'm wondering is like, well, is there anything you really want to say that you can't say? Or is it like, yeah, I can't say a lot of stuff, but I don't really need to say that anyway. Like he can say, Joe right here can say, yeah, my president, Joe Biden, he's an idiot, right? Go ahead, just say it.
Let's go, Brandon.
All right, exactly. He can say that, but they can't say that. There are things they can't say, or they will get a phone call. Okay?
웃는 두 학생과 달리 착잡한 표정을 짓는 이 학생. 그러더니 자신이 겪은 일을 이야기하기 시작합니다.
Some comment that I say might seem like I'm not very patriotic, and they will grab that idea that you are not patriotic and post it somewhere and say like he's not a real Chinese and he's not like he's one of those what's the
Like a traitor.
yes
Traitor to the
yes
yeah.
like
Or what about other people who would say, you're not speaking critically enough. Like you should take this opportunity. Other Chinese who would say, you should take this opportunity and tell people what things we can and can't do in China. Like you should speak the truth.
yeah, like people might think that there are a lot of stuff that we cannot do in China because of this government, because of surveillance or whatever. But we can do a lot of things.
Okay, hang on. Don't go there yet. Go to the next slide. So here's your president. Xi Jinping, right? Who, by the way, just, he had you get 5 years. You got another 5
term,
years.
yeah.
He and his advisors just decided, hey, they're going to just give him another 5 years. So he just started his 11th year. They just changed the Chinese constitution to give him another 5 years.
어떻게 다시 연임할 수 있게 된 건지 좀 더 알아보기로 합니다.
Here's your party congress, happens every 5 years, right? These are people making decisions. This is a lot of it's 5,000 people or something, right?
Yeah, so representatives from all of the provinces and a lot of the cities and some local districts, all the way up to the higher ups of the in the government.
And everything is the CCP, right? So it's we have Democrats and Republicans, and there you just got one party.
Yeah, maybe there's only this group.
Yeah.
And there's no different groups here that we have have Republicans and Democrats, but there are people that's more lenient towards the left or towards the
Got
right.
you. Yeah. Okay, got you. Go to the next slide.
다음 화면으로 넘기자 우리 모두가 궁금해할 법한 주제가 나왔습니다.
You have a surveillance state. This is, some cameras. We think we have cameras. You think you have cameras in Saudi Arabia? Check it out in China, man. Cameras everywhere.
Yeah, so, I've talked about this in my Word in Conversation already, but there's an analogy that I use that we used in China. So when you want to eat a frog, when you want to boil a frog, you first put it in warm water instead of just hot boil one. At first, the frog will not think there's a lot of danger, but when he realized, then it's already too late. So that's why the surveillance thing has been slowly around since we're born.
Yeah, before you were born.
Even before we were born, but it just got even better and more, just better, smarter,
more effective.
Yeah, and more effective.
Well, here, go to the next slide. You can see here, in China, they're so good that you can just pick people out and know something about them. So you're walking across the street here in State College, and someone can just be watching and know something about each person, man. Okay? I mean, it's not as far-ranging as it could be, or maybe will be, but who knows, right? But this is somewhere about where we're at. Okay?
Yeah. Even especially during COVID, even if you are wearing a mask or something, they can still have facial recognition and know who you are and your name, date of birth, even how much you have in your bank account and something like that.
Yeah, a lot about you, which is probably what some of this stuff says. I don't know.
믿기지 않는 중국의 이야기를 들은 미국 학생이 중국 학생에게 질문을 던집니다.
Bro, do you have a question for him?
I don't know if he'll be able to answer it openly. But the idea of living in a surveillance state, how much does that change how you interact outside?
Dude. Yeah, that's what the whole world wants to know, bro. You're walking down the street.
Honestly, not much. It's still basically the same. Nowadays, everyone has a phone. They can record you if you are doing something that's strange or whatever. If you're here in the U.S., if someone's trying to steal something or whatever, people will just record them. It's the same thing as the surveillance. It's just surveillance fixed over there. Mm-hmm. And in China, I can still go do whatever I want as long as it's not illegal on the street.
Okay.
Yeah, and plus, we don't really have a lot of police patrolling the street. We're not like here in the U.S. that we have police cars running down the street, patrolling the street. There's not much that going on. So as a substitute, you will need more cameras to get everything in order.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Which would you prefer? Would you prefer police on the streets, or would you prefer just a surveillance system like you have?
Dude, that's...
미국 학생의 훌륭한 질문에 감동받은 듯한 교수님.
I think that... Okay, I have a good answer for this, but so I think it depends. for the most part, I don't really care. It's almost the same. But for driving, I prefer here more.
Because you like to speed?
Not that I like to speed, but you have the option to speed and not get a ticket. but
중국 학생의 솔직한 대답에 웃음바다가 됐네요.
Okay, so bro, you had to, what do you make of his answer?
I think it's interesting. I think I would prefer the way it is in America. I mean, obviously that's coming from not experienced your culture and the way it is over there. But the idea of having actual people that you're interacting with, other than machines and systems, I would prefer that. So
I want to give an example, a story. All right, so we have this traffic camera that monitors you, like if you have your seatbelts on, if you have your head out of the window, right? So there are a couple of cases in China that people are wearing a black shirt with a seatbelt on, and the seatbelt is black, so the camera cannot capture it, and they got a fine for that, and they are trying to fight against the charge, and it's not like they didn't win because there's no proof that you're actually wearing a seatbelt because of the resolution of the camera is so low. And there are a couple of times where people have their dogs at the back seat of the car, and the dog are like having their heads outside of the car, and the camera mistaken it with a person's head and find the driver.
잠시 카메라 이야기 다음으로 사우디와 중국 학생에게 고향으로 돌아가면 할 수 없어서 아쉬운 것에 대해 물었습니다.
Like, do you ever see stuff that you think like, oh, I wish we had this in Saudi Arabia?
I would say, like, for example, Netflix. Like, back in Saudi, it's very different. We don't have the same TV shows and movies. So, like, when I came here, I was, like, excited that everything, like, my favorite TV shows and, like, the ones that I hear about on, like, social media are there. So, like, I started watching them once I came here.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. And so, Orson, how about you, man? Like, how's your life going to change when you're not here?
So it's going to surprise a lot of Americans, or a lot of you here. Like, first, we don't have Netflix. Like, you have the options, you have it. We don't have it. But our television has a lot of channels, like a lot of local channels we can watch. We have our own versions of YouTube, couple of versions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there are a couple of websites like that, and the thing is, like, if I'm back in China, I wouldn't be able to follow my favorite Netflix show on Netflix.
Or your favorite YouTube channel,
favorite YouTube
which would be
channel.
Social 19, right, bro?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's on the top of my subscription list.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
No, and wouldn't be able to use Instagram or Twitter
Okay.
or Snapchat.
Okay.
We have our own versions.
And you have like
all of them out
WeChat, you
there.
do all the things that
like
you have.
WeChat is like a combination of a lot of those things. And
Okay, so you
yeah.
can't do those things. So you're going to follow your life. You have a different life back there. And how is that life compared to your life here?
마지막으로 지금 겪고 있는 미국에서의 삶과 중국으로 다시 돌아간다면 겪게 될 삶을 비교해 어떤 차이가 생길지 물었습니다.
I haven't been back home for almost 4 years now, so it's going to take some time for me to adapt to the way of living back home. But I would say, like, life back home and life over here in the US have both their benefits and some of their downsides. And there's something that I can get in China that I can't get here, like very nice food, cheap, or some like really cheap stuffs. Like, yes, and
Dude, we get a lot of cheap Chinese shit here also, man. By the way, we just go to Walmart and Target and all those, but
yeah,
nonetheless,
maybe
go
my
ahead.
uncle made that.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. That's a joke. But yeah.
Dude, I was going to make that joke. All right, so listen, bro, you go out tonight, you live in China, you live in Beijing State College is a small town in China. There's cameras everywhere. Everything you do, someone's watching you, okay? Cross the street, go here, go there, somebody's watching you. How does your behavior change tonight as a result of that?
반대로 미국인 학생들이 중국에서 살게 된다면 어떨지 질문을 던진 교수님. 학생들은 생각에 잠깁니다.
bro, do you have a response? Like the difference between here, how are your actions here in the U.S. different than how they will be when you return to China?
Yeah, like I said before, not that much. It's not like there's no surveillance over here that I'm going to walking down the street and just take someone's stuff.
Yeah.
No, but what I wouldn't do over here, I wouldn't do back in China. Like there's one thing with surveillance, and there's another thing that's more to the moral parts of yourself. Like personally, to my morality, like I wouldn't steal someone's stuff. I wouldn't like push someone over because they are in my way. And just personally thinking that, well, all of my actions will have a consequence at some time. So I wouldn't be doing that because there will be some negative consequences. So that's to the answer, not that much of a difference.
미국과 중국의 삶은 분명 다른 점이 많겠지만 이 학생은 스스로 올바른 것을 판단하고 자신의 도덕심을 믿기 때문에 중국에서의 감시나 많은 제재에도 삶은 크게 바뀌지 않을 거라 답했습니다. 오늘은 중국과 사우디아라비아 학생들을 대표로 아직까지 왕과 주석이 큰 힘을 갖고 있는 나라들의 상황을 알아봤습니다. 우리는 언제나 양쪽 대립되는 상황에서 어떤 것이 나은지 자주 선택하기도 하고 또 장단점을 비교해 보곤 하는데요. 오늘 강의에서 학생들의 대답을 어떻게 보셨나요? 각자 마음속에 자신이 맞다고 판단한 삶의 모습이 있을 것입니다. 만약 어려움이 닥쳤다면 그대로 안주하는 것이 아니라 스스로의 마음을 믿고 자신이 원하는 삶을 살고자 한다면 언젠가 바라는 모습으로 점차 나아갈 수 있지 않을까 생각해 봅니다. 여러분들은 중국이나 사우디아라비아 같은 곳에 살게 된다면 어떨 것 같으신가요? 여러 생각이 드는 강의였습니다. 훌륭한 강의를 해주신 샘리처드 교수님 정말 감사합니다. 그리고 영상을 시청해주신 여러분 정말 감사합니다.